In the world we live in today, emotional attachment has become an inevitable part of life. We connect with people deeply, whether it's in our relationships, friendships, or family bonds. Yet there are times when these attachments begin to take a toll on us, emotionally draining our energy and well-being. Emotional detachment is not about suppressing emotions or becoming indifferent. Instead, it is about liberating ourselves from the pain and emotional dependency on another person. Emotional detachment allows us to reclaim our inner peace and strength. One of the most effective ways to achieve emotional detachment is by embracing the wisdom of Stoicism, an ancient philosophy known for promoting mental resilience, emotional control, and inner peace. Stoicism provides us with a set of practical habits that empower us to detach from unhealthy attachments without bitterness or resentment. By applying these Stoic principles, you can experience a sense of emotional freedom and start to move forward with clarity and strength. In this video, we will explore how to emotionally detach from someone using powerful Stoic habits. This journey will guide you through understanding emotional attachment, learning Stoic tools for emotional detachment, and practicing techniques that will lead you to inner peace. Along the way, you'll discover how to overcome emotional pain, regain control of your thoughts and feelings, and ultimately grow stronger. Firstly, understanding emotional attachment. To begin the process of emotional detachment, it's essential to first understand what emotional attachment is and why it can become harmful. Emotional attachment, at its core, is a deep bond that we form with someone, often rooted in our need for connection, comfort, or security. These bonds can be positive, but when they become unhealthy, they start to affect our mental health, causing us to lose our sense of self and control over our emotions. What is emotional attachment? Emotional attachment is a natural and necessary part of human relationships. It is the bond that connects us to others and often brings feelings of happiness, fulfillment, and contentment. We feel emotionally attached when we care deeply about someone, and our emotional well-being becomes intertwined with their actions, feelings, and presence in our lives. This attachment can manifest in romantic relationships, friendships, or even familial bonds. However, emotional attachment becomes problematic when we rely too heavily on someone for our sense of happiness, worth, or identity. In these cases, we may begin to lose sight of our own needs and desires, becoming overly dependent on the other person for validation and emotional support. When this happens, the emotional attachment turns into emotional dependency, creating an unhealthy dynamic that can lead to feelings of anxiety, insecurity, and fear of loss. Why is emotional detachment so difficult? Detaching from someone emotionally can be one of the most challenging things we face. The reason for this lies in the complexity of human emotions and the strength of the emotional bonds we form. When we invest time, energy, and emotions into a relationship, it becomes deeply ingrained in our psyche, making it difficult to let go. For many, emotional attachment feels like a safety net. It provides comfort even when the relationship is no longer healthy. The fear of loneliness, uncertainty about the future, and the pain of separation can prevent us from emotionally detaching, even when we know it is necessary for our well-being. Moreover, the human brain is wired to seek pleasure and avoid pain. Emotional attachment, even when it becomes toxic, often provides a sense of temporary comfort, which makes it harder to let go. Detaching emotionally requires facing discomfort and embracing uncertainty, something that most people instinctively avoid. The negative effects of unhealthy emotional attachment. When emotional attachment turns into emotional dependency, it can have detrimental effects on your mental, emotional, and even physical health. Some of the most common negative outcomes include anxiety and insecurity. Being emotionally dependent on someone else can cause constant anxiety. You may worry about their feelings, actions, or opinions, and this can leave you feeling insecure in your relationship. Loss of identity. When you become overly attached, you may start to lose touch with who you are as an individual. Your own needs, desires, and goals become secondary to the relationship, leading to a loss of personal identity. Emotional exhaustion. Unhealthy attachment can lead to emotional exhaustion. You may feel constantly drained, as your emotional state is tied to the other person's actions or behavior. Fear of abandonment. Emotional dependency often breeds a deep fear of abandonment. The thought of losing the person you are attached to may cause overwhelming anxiety, leading to controlling or clingy behavior. Codependency. In extreme cases, emotional attachment can lead to codependency, where both individuals in the relationship become reliant on each other for emotional support and validation, creating a toxic cycle. Recognizing these negative effects is crucial for understanding why emotional detachment is not only beneficial, but necessary for your mental and emotional well-being. Secondly, the foundation of Stoicism. Now that we have a clear understanding of emotional attachment and its potential negative effects, it's time to explore the philosophy that will guide us through the process of emotional detachment. Stoicism. Stoicism is an ancient philosophy that originated in Greece around the 3rd century BC. It was founded by Zeno of Citium, who taught that the path to happiness lies in accepting the present moment as it is and focusing on what is within our control. Stoicism teaches us to detach from external circumstances and emotions that are beyond our control, and instead, to cultivate inner peace and resilience. A brief history of Stoicism. Stoicism was initially developed as a practical philosophy for dealing with life's challenges. The Stoics believed that in order to achieve true peace and happiness, we must learn to accept the things we cannot change and focus on controlling our thoughts and actions. They emphasized the importance of virtue, wisdom, and self-control in living a fulfilling life. Key figures in Stoicism include Epictetus, a former slave who became one of the most influential Stoic philosophers, Seneca, a Roman statesman and philosopher who wrote extensively on Stoic principles, and Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor who applied Stoicism to his leadership and personal life. These philosophers left behind timeless wisdom that continues to inspire people today. Stoicism is not just a theoretical philosophy. It is a way of life. It provides practical tools and techniques that help individuals manage their emotions, maintain inner peace, and cultivate resilience in the face of adversity. Core Stoic principles for emotional detachment. To emotionally detach from someone, we can turn to the core principles of Stoicism. These principles serve as a foundation for cultivating emotional resilience and inner peace. Control what you can control. One of the most important Stoic teachings is the dichotomy of control. Stoics believe that there are things within our control, our thoughts, actions, and reactions, and things outside of our control, other people's actions, external events. Emotional detachment involves focusing on what you can control, your emotions and responses, while letting go of what you cannot control. Accept what you cannot change. Another key Stoic principle is radical acceptance. This means accepting the present moment as it is, without resistance. When you emotionally detach, you must accept the fact that you cannot control how the other person feels or behaves. Acceptance allows you to let go of emotional attachment and move forward with peace. Practice mindful self-discipline. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of self-discipline in managing emotions. Emotional detachment requires the ability to remain calm and composed, even in the face of emotional pain. By practicing self-discipline, you can avoid being swept away by emotional impulses and maintain emotional balance. Focus on virtue and personal growth. The Stoics believe that virtue is the only true good and that personal growth should be our primary focus in life. By shifting your focus from external attachments to your own personal growth and development, you can begin to detach emotionally and find fulfillment within yourself. Third, how to emotionally detach using Stoic habits. Now that we understand the foundational principles of Stoicism, let's dive into the practical Stoic habits that you can use to emotionally detach from someone. These habits will help you develop emotional resilience, gain control over your thoughts and emotions, and ultimately free yourself from unhealthy attachments. Step 1. Acknowledge your emotions. The first step in emotionally detaching from someone is to acknowledge your emotions. Many people make the mistake of trying to suppress or ignore their feelings in an attempt to detach, but this approach often leads to more emotional distress in the long run. Instead, Stoicism teaches us to accept and acknowledge our emotions without letting them control us. Acknowledge your emotional pain. It's okay to feel hurt, sadness, or even anger when you are emotionally attached to someone. These emotions are natural and part of the human experience. The key is to recognize these emotions without becoming overwhelmed by them. In his book, Meditations, Marcus Aurelius often reflected on his emotions and used self-awareness as a tool to better understand his thoughts and feelings. By practicing self-reflection, you can gain insight into your emotions and begin to separate yourself from them. Stoic habit: practice self-reflection. Spend 5 to 10 minutes each day reflecting on your emotions. Write down how you are feeling and why you believe you are feeling that way. Over time, this habit will help you become more self-aware and emotionally detached. Step 2. Separate what's in your control from what isn't. One of the central tenets of Stoicism is learning to distinguish between what is within your control and what is outside of your control. This distinction is key to emotional detachment because it allows you to stop worrying about things that are beyond your influence, such as another person's feelings, actions, or choices. What's in your control? Your thoughts, your behaviors, your emotional responses, and how you choose to interpret events. By focusing on these elements, you maintain agency over your life, rather than allowing someone else's actions to dictate your emotional state. What's not in your control? Other people's emotions, the past, the future, and external circumstances. Stoicism teaches that trying to control these factors will only lead to frustration and emotional pain. Therefore, to emotionally detach from someone, you must let go of the illusion of control over them and their actions. Imagine being in a situation where someone you care about decides to distance themselves from you. In that moment, you may feel hurt, rejected, or even panicked. However, according to Stoicism, their decision is not something you can control. What you can control is your response to it. You have the power to choose how to interpret the situation and whether to allow it to consume your emotions. Stoic habit: the dichotomy of control. Every time you feel overwhelmed by emotions related to the other person, ask yourself, is this within my control? If the answer is no, consciously choose to release it. Practice reminding yourself daily that you cannot control how others think or feel. Only your own thoughts and reactions are within your domain. Use this practice in every aspect of life, not just emotional detachment. It's a universal Stoic principle that applies to all challenges, whether big or small. By mastering this concept, you'll free yourself from the emotional weight of things beyond your influence, allowing you to emotionally detach in a way that brings peace and clarity. Step 3. Change your perspective. One of the most powerful Stoic tools for emotional detachment is changing your perspective. Often we hold on to emotional attachments because of the way we perceive our relationships. We may view the end of a relationship as a loss or failure, which intensifies feelings of sadness, regret, or even anger. In Stoicism, this idea of shifting perspective is called cognitive reframing. The Stoics believe that we can change the way we feel by changing the way we think. Instead of seeing the end of a relationship as a negative experience, you can choose to view it as an opportunity for personal growth and self-discovery. For example, instead of thinking, "I've lost someone important to me," reframe it as, "I now have the opportunity to grow, learn, and focus on myself." Rather than feeling rejected, focus on how the experience has made you stronger, wiser, and more self-aware. Stoic habit: cognitive reframing. Whenever you catch yourself thinking negatively about the person or the relationship, pause and ask yourself, how can I view this in a more empowering way? Journal about what you've gained from the experience, even if it was painful. What lessons have you learned? How can this situation make you stronger? Use Stoic quotes or teachings to guide your perspective shift. For example, Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Shifting your perspective is not about denying the reality of the situation, but about choosing to interpret it in a way that serves your emotional well-being. It is a practice that allows you to move forward with a sense of empowerment and control over your emotions. Step 4. Practice self-discipline. Emotional detachment requires a great deal of self-discipline. When we're attached to someone, our emotions can be unpredictable, and we may feel the urge to act impulsively, whether that's constantly reaching out to them, checking on their social media, or allowing our thoughts to obsess over them. In Stoicism, self-discipline is considered one of the highest virtues. It's about exercising control over your desires and emotions so that they do not control you. This doesn't mean suppressing or ignoring your emotions, but rather managing them with composure and clarity. To emotionally detach from someone, you'll need to cultivate the discipline to refrain from behaviors that reinforce attachment. This includes resisting the urge to ruminate over the relationship or constantly seeking validation from the other person. Instead, focus your energy on activities that promote personal growth and self-care. Stoic habit: self-control over impulses. Set boundaries for yourself. For example, limit the amount of time you spend thinking about or interacting with the person you're trying to detach from. Practice mindfulness or meditation to observe your emotions without reacting impulsively. When you feel the urge to act on your emotions, take a moment to breathe and reflect before making any decisions. Remind yourself daily that true strength comes from self-control. As Seneca said, "Most powerful is he who has himself in his own power." Over time, practicing self-discipline will help you break free from emotional dependency, allowing you to experience a greater sense of emotional freedom and peace. Step 5. Rebuild your identity. When we're emotionally attached to someone, we often lose touch with our own identity. We start to define ourselves through the relationship, which can leave us feeling lost and incomplete when the attachment ends. A crucial part of emotional detachment is rebuilding your identity, rediscovering who you are outside of the relationship. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of self-reliance and finding fulfillment within yourself, rather than relying on external sources for happiness. When you detach from someone emotionally, it's an opportunity to refocus on your own personal growth, passions, and goals. Take time to reflect on who you are as an individual. What do you value? What makes you happy? What are your goals and dreams? By focusing on these questions, you can begin to rebuild a sense of self that is independent of the relationship you once had. Stoic habit: focus on personal growth. Spend time engaging in activities that bring you joy and fulfillment, whether it's a hobby, career development, or personal self-care. Set new goals for yourself. Use the end of the emotional attachment as a catalyst for growth and progress in your life. Practice gratitude for the lessons you've learned through the relationship. Gratitude helps shift your focus from what you've lost to what you've gained. As you rebuild your identity, you'll find that emotional detachment becomes easier. You'll begin to realize that you are whole and complete on your own, and that your worth is not tied to your relationship with another person. Fourth, tools and practices for emotional detachment. Now that we've explored some of the key Stoic habits for emotional detachment, let's delve into specific tools and practices that you can implement in your daily life to strengthen your emotional resilience and foster detachment. Tool 1. Negative visualization. Negative visualization is a Stoic practice that involves imagining the worst-case scenario to prepare yourself emotionally for it. By visualizing the potential loss of something or someone, you reduce your emotional attachment to them and become better equipped to handle their absence if it occurs. When you're emotionally attached to someone, try practicing negative visualization by imagining what your life would look like without them. Picture yourself thriving and finding peace even if they are no longer a part of your life. This practice helps you mentally prepare for detachment, making the actual process less painful. Exercise daily negative visualization. Spend 5 to 10 minutes each morning visualizing what your life would be like without the person you are emotionally attached to. Focus on how you would continue to live a fulfilling and happy life. Remind yourself that nothing in life is guaranteed and that impermanence is a natural part of existence. Embrace this uncertainty with calm acceptance. Tool 2, journaling for emotional clarity. Journaling is one of the most effective tools for gaining emotional clarity and self-awareness. It allows you to express your thoughts and feelings in a safe, non-judgmental space, while also helping you to process emotions and track your progress toward emotional detachment. In Stoicism, journaling is often used as a form of self-reflection. By writing down your thoughts and feelings, you can observe patterns in your emotions and gain insight into what might be keeping you emotionally attached. Journaling also provides an outlet for releasing pent-up emotions, which can help reduce the intensity of your attachment. Exercise, daily journaling practice. Set aside 10 to 15 minutes each day to write in your journal. Reflect on your emotional state, the progress you've made in detaching from the person, and any challenges you're facing. Write about your thoughts on Stoic principles and how you're applying them to your life. What have you learned about emotional control and acceptance? Use journaling as a way to practice gratitude. Write about what you're grateful for in your life, focusing on the positive aspects that exist outside of your attachment. Journaling will help you gain a deeper understanding of your emotions and provide a clear roadmap for your journey toward emotional detachment. Tool 3. Meditation for emotional calm. Meditation is a powerful tool for calming the mind and detaching from emotional turmoil. When you meditate, you practice observing your thoughts and feelings without reacting to them. This practice allows you to create emotional distance between yourself and your attachment. In Stoicism, meditation is used as a way to gain inner peace and clarity. By meditating regularly, you can train your mind to remain calm and composed, even in emotionally charged situations. Exercise Stoic meditation practice. Start with 5 to 10 minutes of mindfulness meditation each day. Focus on your breath and observe any thoughts or emotions that arise without getting caught up in them. Practice detachment during meditation by imagining your emotions as clouds passing by in the sky. Acknowledge their presence, but let them drift away without holding on to them. Use your meditation time to reflect on Stoic principles, such as acceptance of what you cannot control and the importance of inner peace. With consistent meditation, you'll find it easier to maintain emotional balance and distance yourself from unhealthy attachments. Tool 4. Cognitive distancing. Cognitive distancing is a technique that involves viewing your thoughts and emotions from a third-person perspective. Instead of identifying with your emotions, you step back and observe them objectively. This practice helps you detach from the intensity of your feelings and gain greater control over your emotional responses. When you're emotionally attached to someone, it's easy to get swept up in your feelings. Cognitive distancing allows you to take a step back and view your emotions with detachment and clarity. Exercise third-person perspective. Whenever you feel overwhelmed by emotions, imagine that you are a neutral observer watching yourself experience these feelings. Ask yourself, what would a Stoic do in this situation? Use cognitive distancing to remind yourself that emotions are temporary and do not define you. By viewing your emotions from an outside perspective, you can gain greater control over how you respond to them. This practice will help you develop a more detached, objective approach to your emotions, making it easier to let go of unhealthy attachments. 5th, how to stay detached and move forward in life. Once you've begun the process of emotional detachment, it's important to continue practicing Stoic habits to maintain your progress and move forward in life with strength and clarity. Living with emotional detachment. Emotional detachment doesn't mean becoming cold or indifferent. It means freeing yourself from emotional dependency and reclaiming your inner peace. When you practice emotional detachment, you can still care about others, but you no longer rely on them for your sense of happiness or self-worth. Living with detachment allows you to maintain emotional balance, even in the face of challenges. You'll no longer feel consumed by the actions or opinions of others, and you'll be able to approach relationships with a sense of confidence and self-assurance. As you move forward in life, continue to practice the Stoic habits of emotional detachment. Focus on what you can control, accept what you cannot change, and remain committed to your own personal growth. Stoic habit, ongoing reflection. Make time for regular reflection on your progress. Have you maintained your emotional detachment? Are you continuing to apply Stoic principles in your daily life? Use journaling, meditation, or conversations with a mentor to reflect on how far you've come and what areas you can continue to improve. Rebuilding and focusing on your future. As you let go of emotional attachment, you open up space in your life for new possibilities and experiences. This is the time to focus on rebuilding yourself and creating a future that aligns with your values, passions, and goals. Set new personal goals and work toward them with a sense of purpose and self-discipline. Whether it's pursuing a career goal, learning a new skill, or investing in your physical and mental well-being, focus on activities that promote your personal growth and fulfillment. By shifting your focus from the past to the future, you'll find that emotional detachment becomes a natural part of your life. You'll be able to look back on your experience with a sense of gratitude for the lessons learned without feeling weighed down by emotional pain. Stoic habit: focus on the present moment. Practice being fully present in your daily life. Focus on the task at hand and avoid dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. Use mindfulness techniques to bring your attention back to the present whenever your mind starts to wander. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." By maintaining a focus on the present moment and nurturing positive, productive thoughts, you'll continue to move forward with emotional strength and clarity. In conclusion, emotionally detaching from someone can be a challenging but deeply rewarding process. By applying the powerful habits of Stoicism, you can free yourself from emotional dependency and reclaim your inner peace. Remember, emotional detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you care for yourself first, allowing you to live a more balanced and fulfilling life. As you continue on this journey, I encourage you to practice these Stoic habits daily and embrace the process of emotional detachment. It's a journey that will lead you to greater emotional freedom, inner peace, and personal strength. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with anyone who could benefit from learning about Stoic habits and emotional detachment. We have more videos coming that will dive deeper into Stoic philosophy, personal growth, and emotional resilience. So stay tuned for more valuable insights. Additionally, leave a comment below about your experience with emotional detachment, or share any Stoic habits that have helped you in your journey. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you and have a wonderful life.